Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the suspected gunman in Monday's shooting at a North Carolina university faces a first-degree murder charge.
A UPS driver collapsed on his delivery route. The heat is believed to have played a role in his death.
And 2 people died as Hurricane Idalia made landfall as a Category 3 storm.
As far as we're concerned, we just got hot and dry weather. Get a load of the temperatures. 103 in Port Lavaca, 103 for us as well. We're going to be on the dry side of things until this coming weekend. We'll have that forecast coming up in a moment.
Back authorities in Maui say their search and recovery mission is almost complete after those devastating wildfires. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us. I'm James Munoz.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
The UNC Chapel Hill community paused for a moment of silence to remember a professor. That faculty member was shot and killed Monday by a student. He was an associate professor in the Department of Applied Physical Sciences. A vigil is set to take place this evening at the University of North Carolina campus. Classes are set to be arrested and faces murder charges.
Hurricane Idalia made landfall today as a Category 3 storm near Keaton Beach, Florida. The National Hurricane Center reported a maximum sustained winds of 125 miles per hour with even higher gusts of wind. Idalia is now the strongest storm to make landfall in Florida's Big Bend region in the past 125 years. Meanwhile, Florida authorities have reported 2 storm-related deaths. 2 men died in separate car crashes blamed on severe storm conditions. As of 11 a.m. Eastern, Idalia was downgraded to a Category 1 storm. Here is your viewer poll this afternoon. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, do you know someone affected by Hurricane Idalia? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6.
Yeah, my mom and sister and brother all live near Tampa, Florida, so I was checking in with them. And Mac, this was farther north, but pretty bad for Florida and Georgia, huh?
Yeah, I wanted to know how was Tampa?
You know, they said it wasn't too bad. My sister was actually driving up from Miami, and really it's farther north, everything.
Yeah. You know, it's one of the good things now that we have so much information and so much communication and so much technology that people know the storm is coming, they hunker down and they stay out of harm's way. So that's what we want. We want nobody hurt or injured by the storm. And so, you know, we'll talk more about that in a minute. Yeah, for us, we're on the backside of Idalia. We're getting a north dry wind. You might have felt the low humidity out there, but the moisture will be coming back. We'll take a look at that and look at Idalia's videos as well coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. A veteran UPS driver died Sunday, days after collapsing in the sweltering heat on his route.
Dealing with the heat was a prime issue with the negotiations on a new labor deal between union leaders and UPS earlier this year.
For almost 30 years, 57-year-old Chris Begley did this each day for UPS.
A 28-year member of UPS.
But last Wednesday, his last delivery.
Very tough conversation, very traumatic events that happened to these families.
Per Begley's union, Teamsters Local 767, the loving husband and father to 2, dropping off a package at a Farmersville business last Wednesday, a day when the highest temperature was 101, heat index values up to 108. President and Principal Officer Dave Reeves says Begley collapsed to the floor inside.
He did notify UPS of some symptoms that were heat-related injuries.
The business tending to Begley while his supervisor made his way there. UPS telling WFAA that Begley was offered to be taken to the hospital, but that he declined and was taken home. His truck was left in Farmersville, however. If Begley couldn't drive, Reeves wants to know why a supervisor didn't take him to the hospital immediately.
Did UPS follow their own training program that they've developed?
Begley was removed from service and took a few days off. He was later hospitalized and died on Sunday. We don't have his cause of death, but UPS telling WFAA we train our people to recognize the symptoms of heat stress and we respond immediately to any requests for help. The heat, a point of issue between Teamsters and UPS while negotiating a massive labor contract this summer.
There is no AC in these UPS trucks.
No, right now there is no AC in these package cars.
No AC in trucks right now, but starting next year, newer ones will have it and be sent to the hottest parts of the country first. Right now, though, a family in McKinney is without this smile. Could more have been done to save it? A question they want answered.
Two Proud Boy leaders will have to wait to learn their sentences for seditious conspiracy. The judge in the cases of Enrique Tero and Ethan Nordine is dealing with a medical issue. He's rescheduling Nordine's hearing for Friday and Tero's for Tuesday. The men are convicted of having roles in the January 6 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Prosecutors have asked the judge to sentence Tero to 33 years and 27 years for Nordine.
3 weeks after the deadly Maui wildfires decimated a historic town, Maui leaders are declaring their search and recovery mission nearly complete.
Authorities have confirmed the death toll remains at 115 people, with 388 people still unaccounted for.
The deadly Maui wildfires forever scarring the island. 3 weeks since the fires devastated the historic Hawaiian community of Lahaina. Maui officials declaring their search and recovery of the burned out buildings in Lahaina for additional victims from the wildfires at 99%.
No one in our state has ever experienced the magnitude of this disaster and the degree of tragedy.
Officials confirming the death toll remains at 115, with 388 residents remaining on the unaccounted for list. Recovery efforts are continuing in the ocean, though no human remains have been found by crews.
We have that last remaining 1%, which was the ocean. We have 4 miles that the FBI is going out right now, and they're going to go 200 yards out.
As the people of Hawaii continue to mourn the catastrophic death and destruction they've suffered, President Biden announcing $95 million from the bipartisan infrastructure law to harden ground power on Maui to help prevent future wildfires.
I directed my team to do everything we can for as long as it takes to help Maui recover, rebuild in a way that respects and honors Hawaiian traditions and cultures and the needs of the local community.
Meantime, the Federal Emergency Management Agency is calling on Congress to approve more funding for disaster responses. Sharing their disaster relief fund is down to $3.4 billion.
I want to stress that while immediate needs funding will ensure we can continue to respond to disasters, it is not a permanent solution.
Hawaiian officials say the next phase is working with the EPA for hazardous waste removal. Once the area is deemed safe, return to Lahaina will begin for residents and business owners. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. One man was found dead after a car fire on Mongolia Beach last Friday, August 25th. And first responders got a chance to connect with the community on Sunday during a family fun day at the Port O'Connor Community Center. Plus, Flip Flop Festival returns this weekend at the Bayfront Peninsula Park. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com.
And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. Stay with us. 11 people were hurt after a Delta flight experienced turbulence outside an airport in Atlanta.
Also ahead, the calls for Spain's football soccer chief to resign after he forcibly kissed another Spanish soccer player continue. Delta Airlines flight were hospitalized Tuesday after undergoing severe turbulence. A spokesperson said the flight from Milan had 151 passengers and 14 crew members. No word on the extent of those injuries. The FAA says the plane was roughly 40 miles away from Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport when the shaking started. Delta says its priority is taking care of customers and crew members who were hurt. Calls for Spain's football chief to resign over an unwanted kiss continue. Before last night's women's friendly meet between Club America in Barcelona and Mexico City, members of both teams embraced as they displayed a banner reading, "It's over, you're not alone," along with a t-shirt that says, "Jenny, for you, for all of us." Spanish football player Jenny Hermoso was forcibly kissed by Luis Robles upon winning the Women's World Cup earlier this month. The incident sparked global outrage for what many see as sexual assault.
The first over-the-counter opioid overdose antidote is expected to hit shelves next week. The manufacturer of Narcan says the medicine will have a suggested retail price of $45 a carton. Each carton includes 2 doses of the nasal spray. The FDA approved Narcan as an over-the-counter drug in March in response to the national opioid overdose crisis. A 2020 report from the American Heart Association says more than 6 million adults have heart failure in the U.S.
But early diagnosis and treatment can help those with this potentially deadly condition.
It's a condition where the heart can't pump enough blood and oxygen to support other organs in the body. Heart failure is serious and can have a huge impact on health and quality of life.
Patients just can't function because they can't breathe and they start getting swollen and swollen over time.
Dr. Emmanuel Finette with Cleveland Clinic says there's a broad spectrum of heart failure severity. He says patients first need to know what type of the syndrome they have and learn about it.
It's much easier when we have patients that can have an education, they can understand what is going on and can anticipate issues as well.
Finette says most heart failure patients will be prescribed medications. Consistently taking that medicine on time is critical. He also says to monitor symptoms, watch for changes in body fluid, swelling, or shortness of breath. Monitor weight, blood pressure, and heart rate, and limit sodium.
Ideally, they should stay within 3 grams of sodium, less than 3 grams of sodium, if at all possible.
Finette says maintaining a healthy lifestyle is also key. That means no smoking, staying at a healthy weight, exercising 150 minutes a week, getting adequate sleep, controlling diabetes, maintaining a low blood pressure, and having a healthy low-fat diet.
Heart failure is a chronic condition. It's rarely cured, but it can be controlled.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
Experts are becoming increasingly concerned about the disappearance of fireflies from the U.S. and other countries. Firefly Conservation and Research says it's unclear why they are vanishing. Environmentalists believe the development of forested and waterfront areas could be destroying their habitat. Another factor could be light pollution. Artificial lights could make it difficult for bugs to communicate.
Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Quail Record. The Gobblers dominate the Rice Birds, kicking off the 2023 football season. County commissioners reviewed comments on budget changes affecting the DA's office. Plus, a presentation on child trafficking is set for September 16th at St. Peter Lutheran Church Fellowship. Read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Well, coming up, we'll be taking another look at Idalia, also at your weather, because it's going to be nice and dry all the way through the weekend, but things may be changing next week, so that'll be good. All that coming up in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is seeking information regarding a murder of Gerald Samuel Hadley. On August 23, 2002, at about 5:10 a.m., Victoria Police Department officers responded to Circle K at the 4400 block of North Navarro concerning a man down by the dumpster behind the location. The man was identified as 63-year-old Gerald Samuel Hadley. Hadley was a white male who was homeless and severely beaten. Hadley was transported to a local hospital for treatment. On July 14, 2003, after nearly a year in a coma, Hadley died as a result of the injuries he received during the aggravated assault. The charge at that time was upgraded to murder. If you have any information about Hadley's murder, please call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200 or submit a tip by using the P3 Tip app on your Android or Apple device, or by visiting our website at www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to arrest or charges being filed, you could earn a cash reward. With the Victoria Police Department, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. You probably noticed the relatively dry humidity we had out there today. It was kind of comfortable, you know. In the sun, it was sharp, but in the shade, it was fairly comfortable. We don't have that humidity, and of course, that's what we got out of that hurricane on the East Coast. It is 100 degrees today, folks, and yes, we did get up to a high temperature of 103. That puts us again in the new record books. We are now the second longest streak of 100-degree days in a summer. In other words, we've had 45 days over 100 degrees this summer, and that's the second longest we've ever had. So, yeah, it's going to be competitive to see if we're number one. You know, we like to do that. We did have a few little pop-up showers out here in the hill country, moving down along the, I guess, the Frio River out there. But in terms of the crossroads, we didn't get anything, just that dry and rather hot temperature tough. We are getting, of course, that northerly wind rolling through here on the backside of this whole system. The storm itself is now a tropical storm. It's still got about 65-mile-an-hour winds, but it is continuing to decrease in intensity as the center of it just begins to move off the South Carolina coast. Nonetheless, they've had some pretty impressive stuff. Watch this. There's a car driving, and then all of a sudden the car is flipped up in the air. Pretty amazing. And by either a microburst or a small tornado. But there, can you imagine, trying, and this is in South Carolina, of all places, and not in Florida where they had 125-mile-an-hour winds. So there's a car flying in the air. So we, of course, being on the backside of the storm, same thing happened during Ike and Rita and Katrina, where we had the storm coming up this side. And of course, all we got was the backside of the storm, which was the dry side. We had highs today, of course, 103 for us, 103 in Port Lavaca. Tomorrow, not a lot of change. That's why I'm thinking, you know, we may be #1 in streak of 100-degree days as the way things are going. We also had this very interesting development. See the little gray areas in Corpus Christi, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas. These are air pollution advisories for ozone. You know, I worked in LA for what, 20 years, and so I know ozone, okay? I've been there, and I forecasted it, and I put the advisories out. Basically, we pollute every day, and the atmosphere, when the winds are very light, everything just stays in the air. If the winds are strong, obviously they'd blow away, but when it sort of hangs, the sunlight and whatever moisture there is in the ground breaks down and makes it into ozone, carbon monoxide, into O3. And it is a problem. And so today, with light winds and abundant sunshine, all of the major metropolitan areas had pollution problems. Now, here's the other one. People go, I don't see any pollution. It's a colorless gas, okay? So you will feel it, but you won't see it. Now here's Idalia, and you can see how it's just beginning to move off the South Carolina shore. It is forecast to roll into the Atlantic, but not re-strengthen. It'll continue as a tropical system out there. So for us tomorrow, we're looking at a 99 in Port Lavaca. The winds are going to be out of the northeast a little bit, and then by the time we get to the weekend, they'll turn back to the southeast, and we'll be picking up some of that Gulf moisture. 102 inland in Cuero. We're looking for a hot weather through the weekend, but what you'll notice is that we'll start picking up enough moisture to see a few little pop-up showers. I mean, this is not a big stuff, but a few little pop-up showers around the area beginning on Sunday of this weekend. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to download that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's James and Karina.
And 22 days until fall. I counted.
We count them.
Coming up next, business news. AAA reports the annual cost of owning and operating a new car has soared in 2023. The Dow plus 38 points, the S&P 500 adding 17 points, and the NASDAQ gaining 76 points. Oil up 50 cents, closing at $81.66 a barrel.
The yearly cost of owning and operating a new vehicle soared to new heights. AAA says the average cost this year is $12,182 annually, or $1,015 a month. The increase is due to record high vehicle prices and a 90% jump in finance rates. Additionally, automakers are making more oversized, luxurious, and pricey vehicles with extra features that add to the price increase.
HCS Renewable Energy LLC of Horton and El Campo has laid off 62 workers. The layoffs were announced on June 18th. HCS Renewable Energy is a solar subcontractor. The Texas Tribune has this story about a Travis County judge blocking a new law that would limit cities' power to enact progressive policies. The judge ruled this was unconstitutional. We also have the story at crossroadstoday.com.
Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, a dog missing for more than 2 years is reunited with his family. Plus, here's a look at World News Tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Coming up, the devastation from this major hurricane slamming Florida across Georgia, the Carolinas. You'll see it. The tornado worries right now. The Delta flight hitting severe turbulence, multiple injuries, one passenger on a stretcher. And Mitch McConnell appears to freeze again. Next.
Back home where he belongs. He was lost for more than 2 years. Panda was recently found by workers at an animal shelter in Topeka, Kansas, 500 miles away from home. The shelter was able to find Panda's owner through that microchip. The 7-year-old left his home one day with another family dog named Nala. Only Nala came back. Panda's family has no idea where he was or how he got to Kansas.
I just want to ask Panda what he went through.
I know. I wish he could just bark and like tell us that we could understand. ¿Verdad, Panda? ¿Qué hiciste todo ese tiempo?
It's been two long years, 2.5 years.
Once Panda sniffed his family, he brightened right up. Home sweet home.
Where do you think he was for those 2 years?
It
Partying
looks
away?
like with another family because he looks well kept.
He looks kind of chunky there.
He was what, 500 miles away?
Yeah,
500 miles away.
Unbelievable.
And not a thought behind those eyes. Look, he probably didn't even know he was missing. Look how happy he looks.
And they know. It's crazy.
They know.
I like the name Panda because of the black and white coat.
Perfect for his eyes, man, I tell you. Anyway, folks, for us, we continue in the hot, dry weather. Of course, that's all we got from that hurricane in Florida. So it'll be in the triple digits until the weekend when we finally get a chance of a few showers coming in beginning on Sunday as the moisture sort of rolls in. The dome is not around us right now. Maybe we can do something, fun, like be out of the hundreds for a couple of days.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fall is September 23rd. I think it's a Saturday. Yeah.
Pretty soon.
Thank you, Mac. Thank you for being with us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with Dave Amir is up next.